Dang, I be forgetting that y'all be at work in the morning. Well, I'm finna be part of the early morning working class after June the 19th. Because I have to be there from 9 to 9 during the mall hours. I just wanted to have my little porch talk. My background music courtesy of all the little ghetto birds around here doing their morning things. My red birds, my blue birds, my crows, and whatever them other little birds is. And the bugs that's mad because they can't get past this little screen. Just sitting out here inhaling nature like I do every morning lately. I've been doing it consistently for about a month now again, like I used to, and it makes a difference in the flow of my day. You know, sometimes when everything is just moving so fast and you need to process your thoughts, when you need to unplug, you need the solitude of nature. Because it's not easy for me to just meditate to silence, but I do find myself sitting here on the porch and just meditating to the natural noises of nature while I try to get my thoughts together, which usually doesn't happen because my thoughts be all over the place, and every now and then a brilliant one will pop through. Is more dominant than the other ones, and then we have one of my handy dandy inventions, but my brain never shuts down. I'm always thinking, and I'm trying to figure out how to stop thinking all day. I don't know how to explain what I mean by that, but my brainwave pattern, it just goes. That's what causes the epilepsy, because I'm always processing stuff, and everyone's brain needs a break. I get my break when I sleep, and I don't sleep a lot because I literally be coming up with like inventions and stuff and ideas, and I keep seeing I don't know, it's especially now, since like I'm in tune to what's going on and I feel the transition that's happening, and I really feel like that God is trying to download a lot of stuff into me for a reason. Like, we finna go into a period of time where we gonna have to depend on natural medicine and stuff, and depend on preparing our own food and stuff, and I'm gonna have to start well, not even that, well, I could say this. Hey, cuz, I love you too. I'm working on I guess you could say a handbook that everyone needs in their homes, and I'm gonna be putting a few herbal recipes in there, and listing the different herbs and how to mix them, and how to make a cream, a powder, a tincture, or whatever you need to make from the herb. I'm going to create that handbook for everyone to have in their homes, because yeah, I mean, I appreciate the support of people buying the products and all that stuff. Good morning, Tosca. I appreciate y'all really trusting me with y'all health, from the people who buy my natural capsules to control their blood pressure or whatever, the ladies who trusted me to create formulas for them to conceive. I appreciate that, but it's going to come a time where we're going to have to start making our own medicine, y'all, because something is happening. And we need a guidebook. And I'm going to share a lot of what I've learned through research that's been given to me divinely by God. And the only reason why I knew that it was something inspired divinely by God that actually worked, because of the testimonies that keep pouring forth, from the use of the products. It's not a fluke. It's not a fluke. It's real. It's real. And I say this many times, it's great to have an anointing, to be a healer, to know about herbs and all that stuff, but it's even better to have the book knowledge, to have a reference guide to look at, to check different herbs and stuff, so you won't be mixing a herb with another herb and messing yourself up, just throwing stuff together and all that, because God told you to. It's a method to the madness, And so that's what I'm learning now while I'm getting this store together, getting structure together. Y'all will be able to, come in and purchase customize your teas, your capsules, whatever you need for your health, whatever you have going on. I'll be able to have be able to mix my herbs for you, like a pharmacy style or whatever. Of course, you would have to schedule a consultation, through email, or I do video consultations too. I do FaceTime consultations, if you want a custom herb or a custom tea or something mixed together for a specific issue. I take your privacy very seriously. I don't disclose anything, because it serves me no purpose to shame anyone for trying to heal. And so I didn't take the Hippocratic Oath. I didn't go to medical school. I don't have an MD. But I do have the certification to speak on and advise you on specific herbs that can help specific issues with your body. That's been proven through research. And all of the herbs that I use, they are certified organic. I order everything from the same company, so I have the same certification for everything. I don't use wild crafted herbs from strange places that you know what I'm saying. And I do that for a reason, because if it's ever a time where I need to prove what I'm doing, or give the proper paperwork, then I'm able to do that, and yeah, it costs a little more to do it that way, but it gives me a peace of mind to be able to just pull my paperwork out, and show, that the products that I use were obtained through the proper channels, and I take people's health very seriously. So I always consult and cross-check and Google and everything else before I advise anybody on anything, to take. But I use most of the simplest herbs that were already here. God gave us everything we need to heal ourselves. It's the combination of the stuff. Thank you, C. Yes, indeed. Been certified by our ancestors. You right about that. Wow. You right about that. But yeah, I'm just excited about the store opening. I'm excited about finally getting some sleep, maybe, because oh my God, this has been quite an adventure. But the reward, I believe, from seeing my community being able to eat great food every day, fresh food, fresh salads, fresh sandwiches, fresh juices, teas, custom coffees, ice cream, prepackaged meal plans from different top chefs and stuff. I'm looking forward to all that, not for the money making part of it, just because I'll be fulfilling what I know my purpose is, and what I know God was pushing me to do all this for, I just want my hood healthy. You know, that's my motto. That's real talk though. I just want my hood healthy, but not only, healthy through food, healthy through your spirit, your mind. I get on here and I share myself so much, and I'm so open and I'm so transparent because I strive to be the person that I needed when I was going through. You know what I'm saying? I strive to give that level of transparency that a lot of people can't give because it exposes you. It exposes you to judgment from people. Once you share a part of your story and where you've come from, at that moment, people will take you back to that time. And no matter what you say after that, the ending of your testimony, all they gonna hear is what the beginning of your testimony was. The beginning of what you used to be. And whether they try to do it or not subconsciously, sometimes people will take you back to that moment. And y'all know I'm not lying. I know y'all have seen somebody get up in church and they have testified, and maybe they said they was a former thief and they used to steal out of people's purses. You can't tell me that from that point on, every Sunday, that you was comfortable sitting your purse down on the floor and running down to the altar and getting prayed for with the purse on the floor by her feet and confident it's not getting touched. You can't tell me that that hasn't happened in some capacity. I just use that example, but it's human nature. So it's also human nature to give people the details, but not the details. It's human nature for us to share pieces of ourselves, but the parts that hurt, the parts that could expose us, the part that could expose us to people using our testimonies against us, we hide them, we keep them, and it builds up, and it's poisonous. Good morning, bro. It's poisonous to hold on to that stuff. We're not meant to be the keeper of so many heavy, deep secrets, stuff that's not processed, and it hurts to deal with it, but once you peel that scab off and let it heal all the way, it won't hurt again, and you can talk about it without having nightmares about it and getting emotional when you mention it. You will be empowered once you take their power away. Because people's opinions, that's the strongest power. Because we're always afraid of being judged for being open, for being our true selves. We all put our masks on so we won't be judged for who we truly are. I still wear a mask. As open as I am, as transparent as I am, I still have to wear a mask. Nobody sees Yolanda all the way but my husband. And as much as people say, you can be yourself. We all know that's not true. We all know it's some parts of ourselves that we have to keep under wraps because the world is not ready. Already, Felicia. The world is not ready. The world is not ready to eat from the tree of knowledge. That's what that story was about. Sometimes it hurt to know too much. Do that make sense to you? Sometimes you're not supposed to disclose everything. Sometimes you're not supposed to tell everything. Because everybody cannot process it. They cannot process it. And if you sharing your testimony with somebody who's not processing it, all they're going to hear is what you used to be. And blur out everything else after that. If they're not listening with the heart to understand in the first place. You can't put your testimony in somebody else's head. You can share as much detail as you can, but nobody will ever be able to feel that hurt in your chest when you in your room at night with nobody else but you and God. Nobody can feel that but you. So you have to understand that in your truth telling, in your transparency. Be prepared for all types of reactions. Everybody's not going to embrace you. Sometimes your honesty, sometimes your realness will push people away. But if you are committed to elevating, if you're committing to going to that next level that God trying to take you to, you got to push through. Let it happen. Let it happen. I'm so glad that God gives us grace. I'm so glad that God is the keeper of our deepest, darkest secrets. I'm so glad God gives us free will and allows us to share what we choose to share and not expose us. We already see it on a certain level with these celebrities. You know, when they stuff get drug out in the public eye, we dissect. Well, not we. I don't do that no more because it's low vibing. It's low vibing activity. I stopped doing that because that could have been me. I don't like to put people's misfortune on my page no more and discuss it. Because I don't get a good feeling from it no more. Because it could be me. No, I ain't famous. But it could be me. Babe, I found that out. Ooh. I found that out quickly. You know, just scrolling through YouTube. And something I was associated with was mentioned. And I was on pins and needles. Waiting for my name to be called, being tied to that. And it wasn't. Because fortunately, I didn't really take many pictures. But I got a glimpse of how a celebrity must feel when their name get pulled into a public debacle and everybody is just picking them apart and talking about their misfortune and all that stuff right there. So just think about it on the local level. Your friends, your people you done grew up with, people you went to school with. You know, me on here sharing my deepest. This is the first time I ever went into detail about how I was treated in school. And you know why none of my classmates got on my post to say, oh no, Yolanda, that ain't what happened. That ain't, no, because I remember that time we hung out with, because everybody who have memories with me have memories of me being with them because I was being of service to them some type of way. And that's all the way into adulthood. All these movies I've done, sets and all this, doing hair and all that stuff. I was there because I invited myself there, because I offered my services most of the time for free, because I just wanted to help. I just wanted to be a part of it. I just wanted to show, hey, I'm cool. And they still didn't call me back. When they did it again, you know, they filmed something else, I wouldn't call back. And I couldn't be mad at nobody but myself, because I said, Yolanda, did they invite you? No. You invited yourself. And that's been since childhood. Did they ask you to come over here and play with them? You invited yourself. I've always gained my friendships first by being of service to people. So in this season, God put these women around me that came in being of service to me, to just connecting with me on a just because I love you, sister girl type wave. And if you watching this live video and you a part of my life and you in my circle, and if you've ever uplifted me, if we have ever had a moment, if we have private conversations, I'm talking about you, because I'm not finna single nobody out. On the other hand, if you're on this live and you felt we done slid back and we don't even talk no more, you can't remember the last time you ever talked to me. If you go back and look at our last text conversation, it was months and months and months ago, years ago, whatever. Then for whatever reason, God put you back in the background of my life or whatever, and if you cool with that position, that's fine. But just know it's all love over here. It's all love over here. If I ever had love for you, then I got it for you now. But the problem is levels. And if you're still, all right, bro, if you still at that same level that I was at in the 90s, then we're not gonna click. It's not gonna happen because I'm not there anymore. I'm not the same person I was in 2020. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not the same woman I was a few months ago. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm constantly evolving because this time I'm letting it happen. This time I'm letting memories happen. I'm letting them play all the way out. I done had some stuff happen recently in my adulthood that deja vu so closely related to what happened to me as a child. I had to sit back and watch it happen and process it this time. Love you too, bro. Thank you, Sharon. Love you, Miss Bercy. Yeah, this time I'm having a, I don't think people understand what root work is. You know, if you super religious, when you hear root work, you think some kind of voodoo. It's not that. Root work is identifying why you are the way you are and taking accountability for your part in it. Because, yeah, things happen to you. Yeah, you ended up doing it. Yeah. Now it's time to step out of that. Now it's time to stop letting what happened to you control the rest of your life. I'm almost 50. And if I continue looking young and feeling young, I want the rest of my life to be filled with peace in my spirit, with myself, with who I am. I want to be comfortable with who I am. So when somebody do put my dirt out there or whatever, it does not affect me. It don't hurt me. Matter of fact, it's in my book already. Most of it, what people could stomach. I had to edit my book so many times. My book was so graphic that they wouldn't sell it. Because what happened to me was too much for people to happen, for people to handle. Imagine how much it was for the person that it was happening to. If it's too much to read about, my own husband never finished my book. Imagine how hard it was to relive that as I wrote it and edited the book over and over again. I had to deal with that little girl. I had to pull up memories that I literally put to the back of my mind. I created the Cotton character to recreate my whole self. I did not want to be Yolanda again because a lot of stuff happened to Yolanda. So I created Cotton. Cotton is an acronym for concentrating on trying to overcome negativity. But it was also because I had my hair dyed in a platinum white halo, a little fro. It looked like a cotton ball. But later it became concentrating on trying to overcome negativity. And most of my life, that's been my mantra. Miss Cotton. That's what I wanted to be called. I gained a level of respect from being Miss Cotton. You guys met Miss Cotton in the comedy world. I couldn't control what happened to me as a kid. I couldn't control what happened to me in my 20s because I didn't know myself. I didn't love myself. But after the age of 35, if you met me after the age of 35, you met a young lady who was secure in who she was, but still that little girl on the inside that wanted to please everybody. That's how I got into doing comedy. Because of the energy that I felt from making people laugh. From just talking about my life. I ain't never did the same comedy set twice, y'all. I ain't got no, you know how some comedians, you can go over their whole comedy set with them, boy. You can do it word for word. You'll never be able to do that with mine because you don't know what I'm going to say. Because I got stories for days. But I loved the feedback. The love that came from making people laugh. And it got bigger and bigger and bigger until one day it came crashing down because I realized in order to keep getting that feeling of admiration, I had to go to the club. I had to go to the club and get drunk and be dancing and twerking. I had to be a court jester to feel that love every week. That's why I stopped doing club comedy in 2013. That's why I walked away from my own comedy show that I created. It ran for 3 years straight. A lot of up-and comedians that you see now came through the stomping grounds of that stage at Legends at Too Funny Tuesday. And I walked away from all that because I no longer wanted that type of admiration because it came with a price. I didn't like the person that I created. I didn't like that person. I created that person to gain friends. I created that person to have popularity. But I had got so far from who Yolanda was, I didn't know myself. So I started searching for myself. When I started searching for myself in 2018, I ran back into my husband. Met him the first time in 1988. I was 14. It's when my innocence was taken from me and I felt so like trash. But he thought I was the most beautiful thing in the world. 30 years later, while finding myself, looking for myself, I found my husband. And through my husband, that's when I started dealing with myself. Because every time I saw something I didn't like in my husband, it was a reflection of what I hid about myself for so many years and never dealt with. Never faced it. Never. This season about facing it. About dealing with it. And ooh, I'm going to be so much better coming out of this. I can't tell nobody else about how to run their marriage, their relationship, or whatever. But if you and your spouse keep bumping heads about a certain thing, if it's something about your spouse that keep pissing you off or whatever. Some women, I know you don't want to hear this, but look within yourself. Because sometimes, this is if you with somebody you consider your soulmate, because it's a difference. And I'm going to give you a soulmate checklist. It's only one rule on there. You can't leave them, ever. ever. No matter what. And I'm not talking about a soul tie. I'm not talking about somebody tied to sexually, sex demon on you. I'm talking about your soul mate, the twin to your spirit. You cannot leave. So you have to deal with it. And when you dealing with yourself, I promise you, if it's something you don't like, start dealing with yourself and only yourself. This is where self-care come in. This is where root work come in. Because when you get so busy dealing with yourself, you don't have time to pick out any flaws in anybody, any other human creature. You don't have time to pick out anything else wrong with nobody else. Because you sitting down with what's wrong with you. So that's where I'm at. Single women. Baby, let me tell you something. Before you go back to your altar and pray for God to send you your soulmate, get you together. Because what you don't want to do is get your soulmate prematurely. Because God will give you what you ask for. But if you get it in prematurely and you don't have you together, you're going to be trying to fix you while trying to learn somebody else. You're going to have to make somebody else watch you go on your journey and wreck out and run over curbs and all that stuff because they can't get in the car with you. See, root work is a self thing. That's why it's important, women and men, whoever you are, to get to the bottom of who you are and why you do the things you do. Deal with your triggers. If mama used to yell at you to clean up and throw a shoe at your head for you to clean up or whatever, and that throws you off or whatever, you need to talk about that. You need to deal with that, because what if your wife playing with you? I'm talking about a dude. What if your wife playing with you and she throw the shoe at you? Boy, pick that shirt up off the floor, and you flash back to when your mama did that next thing. You know, y'all fighting and all that stuff. Ladies, I promise you. See, I'm learning this late because I'm working on myself now. This is a lot of stuff that should have been dealt with beforehand. It would have stopped a lot of depression on my part. A lot of stuff that I'm dealing with is my karma. A lot of stuff that I'm dealing with is stuff that I never dealt with, never accounted for, never repented for, never dealt with at all. I'm dealing with it now. That's why it's important to get in the mirror with yourself first before you look for your reflection, if that makes sense. Get in the mirror with yourself first before you start looking for your reflection, so that you can be whole. It's not about you being half a person and getting with your other half. It's about you being that whole piece of that yin yang symbol. It's about you being the whole white piece and that person being the whole black piece. It's two pieces together, but they're two whole pieces. So it's important to deal with you first before you pray for God to send somebody into your situation. Because He'll give you what you want. But then you're going to have to deal with it differently than it would have been if you would have been whole within yourself it really helps a lot of issues. It really helps when you get on your own self, and it's hard to be accountable. Y'all don't understand how hard it be for me to type some of them posts. And I ain't got off this live yet because God won't let me. This is probably the longest live I done, and God won't let me. I was hoping if I start crying or something, that would be my excuse to say, okay, y'all, I'm finna go. But God said, nah, you finna teach this morning. That's why the tone of my page changed. That's why I, cut out a lot of the joking and start teaching for real. Because, the jokes and stuff, that's my Trojan horse. And God told me I don't need that no more. I don't have to get people laughing and all that stuff to get their attention and then hit them with the heat, hit them with the knowledge. They already hungry for it. Y'all already here for it. And as long as y'all here for it, I'll let God use me. I'll continue to let God use me in whatever capacity that he want to use me. When I said, yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be easy. It ain't been easy. But it's right. It's peace. Like Big Mama and them used to say, holiness is always right. To be in commune with God. Like literally have him whispering in my ears, say this, say this, say this, say this. It ain't beautiful all the time, because in the midst while I be rolling, while I be talking, sometimes I got to go back and listen to these videos. I'm like, I can't believe I shared that. I can't believe I said that. But when I get the feedback, I don't care if one person say, hey, I needed to hear that. That was for me. Whatever, I have done what I needed to do. Because God already showed me long time ago that I would be preaching. But I'm so glad that he allows me to share what he needs me to share in my own capacity, in my comfort zone, just as I am. I ain't got to have I don't know how to talk in tongues. I don't know all the books of the Bible in order and all that stuff. I know all the main stuff. I know about what everybody else learned in Vacation Bible School. I know all that. I know all the stories, the main stories. I know all that. But that ain't who God wanted me to be. I'm whoever Jesus was. And Jesus wasn't a Christian. He was a truth seeker. And his nemesis used to be the light bringer. Lucifer. Lucifer means light bringer. Now this gonna mess a lot of y'all up. Lucifer is that part of you that was once the light bringer. It's the dark side of you. It's the evil side of you. It's evil side of you. Devil. We all have it inside of us. It's not an outside character with horns and pitchforks that's chasing you around and trying to make you mess up. It's the lower side of yourself. That's what that is. That's why that story really resonates about how Lucifer was the light bringer. He had instruments in his fingers. He was beautiful, but he got beside himself. He got beside himself. And you know, this is how the story was retold to us. But you know, it's some truth in every story in the Bible. It got messed up and screwed up and details, but it's some truth in every story in the Bible. And I believe that, because just think about it. We were all light bringers when we came into this world. Until the darkness crept in. Until we started knowing. Once we got to the level that Adam and Eve was at when they bit into the tree of knowledge, once they started knowing right and wrong or whatever, that's when the darkness creeped in. We were at our purest innocence when we didn't know anything. Once we started knowing, our thoughts changed. That's when guilt started coming in. That's when we started understanding the difference between we was doing something wrong or right. That was the purpose of being taught that God is always watching you. God can see you. It's true, but not how you think. God not sitting with no big monitor screen watching you. God is watching you through your eyeballs. God is looking at you in the mirror every day when you're brushing your teeth. And when you wonder if what you're doing is acceptable to God, look yourself in the eyes. Can you look yourself in the eyes? Are you acceptable to God? Because that's the higher part of yourself. You have both parts in you, and it's up to you what side prevails, the darkness and the light. But you got to remember that darkness used to be the light. That's why it's possible to be consumed with the light all the way. Once you realize, once you take accountability of that darkness inside of you, once you take accountability of what that thing is that makes you do wrong when you know you're supposed to do right. Once you deal with that, once you speak to that and quit talking to the devil and talk to the devil, we not finna do this. We finna vibe higher. We finna come up to the God part of ourselves where our eyes are. Is what I'm doing acceptable to God? I ain't talking about it is what you're doing acceptable to other people or your peers or other people around you. Can you look yourself in the eyes and say, I am pleased with what I am doing in my life, in the direction in my life? And if you can't say that, then what you're doing is not acceptable to God. And as much as we want to separate God from us to keep ourselves disciplined, because if we think God looking down and watching us, it'll make us do better. Just think about how much more disciplined you can be if you know that God is watching you. You are watching you. Are you pleasing you? Are you depressed? Then you were not pleasing God. If that makes sense. And a lot of time depression comes from being not in the will of God. Yes, Ella, stop talking to the devil and talk to the depth. Yeah. I ain't mean to get out on that. I don't even know where that came from, but yeah, we were all good at some point. That means you can get back to that. There's always hope. Nobody is too evil. Nobody is too dark. Nobody is beyond hope. That's why you should never give up on anybody that God is working with. Never underestimate the power of the turnaround. I'm living proof. Because, baby, my life was headed in a whole nother direction. Now, I can talk about it now because the legal statute of limitation done ran out on a lot of that stuff. But I'm part of the reason why Echo Drugs went out of business. I'm part of the reason why they took the opening doors off the drugstores and put sliding doors on there. Because I was part of a crew that used to pull the doors off of the drugstores with trucks and go in and empty the drugstore out. And I did my time for it. I paid my debt back to society. It ain't never been no secret. It's just something I never talked about. I definitely have a past. And it's definitely something that people can nibble and chew away that out in the gossip columns and all that stuff right there. But see, the difference is when you deal with your own stuff, then you almost relieved that someone else knows that you have a witness after you have evolved. Because see, now, I ain't trying to sound perfect, but it ain't a stain on me. So can't nobody throw my past in my face. Can't nobody demean me with my past, with who I used to be. What they can do is praise God with me because of who I am now. They can be a witness to who I used to be. And they can say, yeah, she has definitely came a long way. She is definitely walking with God. Because I was walking with Lucifer. And didn't even know it because I was dazzled by the light. That's why we attracted to stuff we ain't got no business. I don't know what the writers meant in the Bible about that, but let me tell you something. If Lucifer was lit up like that, I don't think the light ever left. And that's why the entertainment, limelight, so attractive to people. All these bling, 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 all this. Prince of the airwaves. I was dazzled by the light, but that was artificial light. Light source. God was the source. God is the light, the everything. The real light, the organic light. God is. And if it makes sense to you, we are all pieces of God. Spread out like raindrops before they hit the ocean. But when they hit the ocean, it's just one body. It's just the ocean. It's just God. We are all God moving in one body. We are all God. From an aerial view, the ocean just looks like waves of water moving. That's what we all look like. Wave of spirits moving. But if you get up close and examine, we have Versi, we have Ella, we have Richard, we have Sherry, we have Christy, we have Deantha, we have, who else is on here? Sade, we have T. Alex, we have Big King, we have Roy, we have Felicia, we have Patrice, we have Issa. Who else? We have C, we have Sierra, we have Tosca, we have Alicia, we have Portia. But we're still all God, if that makes sense. Whew. Okay, I feel lighter now. I think it's time to end this Porch Talk. I'm going to be uploading this on YouTube. on my channel. I have a channel on YouTube. It's called It's Yo Justice. That's where I'll be loading all my porch talks. The other one is on there. And I have other old Word on Wheel videos, and there's some other random videos in between. But I have I have over 100 videos that nobody watches on my YouTube channel. So if you watch this long, then you're part of my tribe. Hey, if you ever need any inspiration or just want to tap in, you can go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. It's Yo Justice. Have a groovy day, y'all. Bye.